Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Aisha Bashiruddin, an educationist, researcher, and writer. Welcome to the sixth presentation video based on my research titled I Am a Muslim Woman in America, a Narrative. In the last two presentation videos, I presented theme 1 with the analysis of two generations of narratives, that is, baby boomers and Generation X. In this presentation video, I will be presenting analysis of theme 1, specifically focusing on Generation Y, which is women between the age of 24 to 39. So stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. The analysis of the data gathered from Generation Y reveals two sub-themes. The first, which is the major sub-theme, is about forging a communal Muslim identity, and the second is about the influences at home. Forging communal identity. A very prominent theme that emerged from the analysis of the data shows that these Muslim women at a very young age were able to forge their Muslim identities within the community. They deemed this as a very important happening in their lives at an early identity formation. Consistently, the narratives of this generation show that they were influenced by group identification in form of community engagement in the religious centers and masjids. They found a Muslim identity both at an individual level, mostly at home, and at a communal level in a form of group identity. Many of them have expressed the need for communal or group identity as extremely necessary where they, as young Muslims, are trying to foster their identity amidst the modern, liberal, and free world of America. Many of these women mentioned that from a very young age they were associated to the masjids in their areas. Their parents would volunteer in the masjids and were involved in community services. Zaitoon from Pakistan, who was only 10 years old, realized how important it was for her and her mother to go to the masjid. It gave her the feeling of a community in which they became close to Allah and were able to practice Islam. She became friends with fellow Muslims and they all started caring about each other. Almost all the narratives show that the parents took their children to masjid to attend Sunday religious school. Many of them talk about their affiliation with masjid and Sunday schools. For example, Zaitoon and Farida from Pakistan state that they had the opportunity of learning about Islamic history and Islamic practices in the Sunday school. Farida from Pakistan states, and I quote, "The Sunday school was a place where I felt at home. Everyone was like me and we all would learn about Islam." Unquote. Abba from Cuba and Daulat from Jordan state that at the Sunday school in the masjid, they learned the Quran and learned about the teachings of Quran and Sunnah. Sadia from Ghana also states, and I quote, "Me and my sisters went to Sunday school where we learned about Islam and its teachings and practices such as making wuzu, memorizing short surahs, and how to do salah. Unquote. Everyone talks about the communal environment and identity formation in a homogeneous Muslim group, though they all came from different ethnic backgrounds. For example, Almina from Ghana said that at that point of their lives, when they were young and there was a lot of the negative media focus on Muslims in America, they needed a community. She said it was good to have others who think in the same way, read the same Quran. Otherwise, it would be hard to face the world alone. According to her, and I quote, "We need a community in which we can support each other." Unquote. Isa from Uganda also said that she would go to the masjid on different occasions, including Sunday school. She said that she felt lucky to be part of the community because in America they are in minority and are forced to think about their religion and their identity as Muslims. She said, and I quote, "I feel strong because of the community. I attach a lot of importance to the hijab in school and now in workplace." Unquote. Also mentioned that they had opportunities to learn the Quran from people around them. Farida from Pakistan narrated, and I quote, "We would go to a neighbor's house to learn to read Quran." Unquote. Likewise, Ghayat from Jordan was enrolled in the Islamic school since her parents wanted her to have a strong Muslim identity. Almina from Cuba learned about Islamic teachings and practices from a Maulvi who came to teach all her siblings. She states, and I quote, "He taught us to read Quran and taught us about the principles and practices of Islam." Unquote. Besides attending Sunday school and other activities in the masjid, analysis of some of the narratives provide evidence of Muslim identity formation by attending Islamic schools. For example, Daulat from Palestine came to America when she was 5 years old. Her parents did not want her to attend the public school because they did not want her to study where boys and girls mix openly. According to her, and I quote, "My parents did not want me to be corrupted by Western values." Unquote. So they put her in the Islamic school. From the very beginning, she was brought up in an Islamic environment. The Islamic school was not only a single-sex school, but also raised awareness of religion. She also narrates, and I quote, "Studying in the Islamic school gave me a sense of community in which I can practice my religion without fear of being ridiculed." Unquote. Another theme that emerged from the analysis of the data was the influence of the home environment. All these women were born in America or were very young, between 2 to 4 years old, when they came to America with their parents. For all of them, their early identity construction was important. They said that they were very much family oriented and learned at very early age that they were Muslims, which meant that they had to adopt Islam as a way of life. For example, Zaitoon from Pakistan states, and I quote, "My family was very much involved in my Islamic education at home. Since we were living in a country which is multicultural, My parents guided me and educated me about the values and principles of Islam. Unquote. Similarly, Riyadh from Jordan commented, how in a land of foreigners her parents made every effort to form her Muslim identity. She narrates, and I quote, "My parents would tell me the stories from the Quran, read Quran with me, and they would all pray together in the house as much as they could." Unquote. She said that her mother was instrumental in teaching her how to pray. Daulat from Palestine also talked about her parents' involvement in developing her Muslim identity. She said, and I quote, "My mom always guided me and taught me what our religion teaches us. Since we went to the public school, we had many non-Muslim students around. I would discuss questions that came to my mind, whether we could do this or that, or not do certain things as Muslims." Unquote. Isa from Uganda also pointed out that her parents emphasized and instilled in them Muslim tradition, practices, values, and expectations, and emphasized their African culture. She particularly talked about her experience of growing up in an environment at home in which parents communicated to them the importance of religion and became role models through which they passed down their religious and African identity. Ghayat from Jordan said that she came to America when she was 5 years old. At that time, her Muslim identity had already started forming in her own country. Her parents would always use Quran as the major source of inspiration to develop her and her siblings' identity as Muslims. They explained that there are other Muslims and people from other religions in America and that they should hold fast to their identity as Muslims and respect others and be tolerant of their identities. Her father, according to her, said, and I quote, "The Quran supports the idea of unity by encouraging the human family to respect and uphold the dignity of one another." Unquote. Sadia from Ghana states that her parents were keen that they learn all about the religion. Her father taught them about Islam. He diligently worked to teach her and her siblings the Quran and its meanings. Her mother played a role in grooming them as Muslim women in the form of getting up dressed modestly. She taught them how to wear hijab. So from a very young age, they started to form their Muslim identity amongst the complex and conflicting environment of America. The examples presented here show how it is important for the young Muslim women to crystallize the complexities of the identity. Thank you for joining, and thank you for your comments. Continue watching. See you next week. That is February 18th, 2023. Stay safe and stay healthy. Until then, goodbye and Allah Hafiz.